Hi, folks.
Hi, folks.
And welcome to another Saturday Morning Samoflange.
We've now been subsidized by NPR.
Yes.
Welcome to this Saturday. We're very happy to have you here.
You're listening to NPR.
The weather is going to be a calm and brisk 75 degrees somewhere else, because it's not like that here.
Evenings may be cooler. You may want to sit outside your porch. Enjoy some nice Earl Grey. Hot.
I like this calm demeanor we've got. Do you think we can keep this up for the entirety of the podcast and actually make it interesting?
Heck yeah, we can! There we go. All right. Let's do this. It's funny because people had their volumes up for that, and now
let's get them to lean in first, and then just ruin it.
We've had a fantastic conversation the past hour, and we've had a lot of good laughs. We've shared a lot of good humor. And we almost broke out into song.
Almost.
But it's now time.
They say with good improv, you're never just always supposed to go with your first thought. Just keep it going. And then when you said song, I'm not sure exactly what we were going for there.
Yeah. Okay, I don't know either, but it's okay.
All right, moving on. No.
All right, so we're going to talk about top 5 TV shows we wish we were in.
So,
go ahead.
We didn't really elaborate on this at all, even with the text.
No, I just texted you this afternoon.
So, what was your exact question?
Actually, go ahead. Look at the text?
No. Just tell me.
I want to say, if there were TV shows that you said, dang, I wish I could have been in this.
I could have been in that.
I wish I could have guest starred.
Yeah, a day player.
In one episode.
Yeah, just a day player.
Even though it's past my time, you know. I would have wanted to be in that show.
Absolutely. If I were an actor,
I'm just saying,
and had made it, I would want to be in like this one moment.
This is not one of mine, but I would have said Walking Dead. I would have loved to have been a guy that was with them for an episode and then got eaten. You know, or something like that.
That's what. So
that's what we're saying.
That was not what you texted me, but we still had the exact same thought, and that's my point. That's my list. These are TV shows that I thought of that I would have liked to have been in that.
I don't think I have them in order. I don't think I can make an order. Can I be? Please, as pop. You do? Okay.
I do. I think I do. Let me double check it. Good grief.
Sorry.
Should we go back to the whisper so that you can cough under control there?
Let's see here. I'll try.
I think just my number one really is solid.
Let me go first then.
Yeah. It's just my number
feeling
one.
My way through
totally
it.
Solid.
Oh, crossover.
Oh, yes. Let's not forget the pattern and the formula that we're...
Would you like to go first?
With crossover,
this is a broad subject.
I do have, as not an honorable mention, but in my normal honorable mention spot, I have a guess as to a show that I think may be in your top 5. I'm pretty confident in it.
Okay.
We'll see. But but it's not on my list. But I do have one that I'm pretty sure is on yours. And
so you're going to go 0.
Dang.
You 0 is a choice.
Yeah. It would have to be 0 or 1. Man, I'm going to go 1.
Dang it.
You can take 0 if you want.
I wanted 1 because I feel there is 1.
Out of every TV show ever.
So I'm going to go 5. I got to go 0 because I know there's not 2.
Interesting. Right. Okay.
Number 5. Can I go first?
Yes, please.
Because I want to throw this out the gate and see if we have our crossover.
I doubt it. But go ahead.
Buffy.
No, we do not yet. No.
I'm a big Buffy.
Tell me
the Vampire Slayer.
Why would you want to be in Buffy? Who
I would have been one of the kids in high school with them.
Okay.
And I might have been the monster of the week.
You think?
Okay. Yeah, the high school kid that has something little secret.
Right.
And Buffy has to kill me.
Right.
You know, it's how it goes. Maybe I'm a nice guy that Buffy decides to date for a little while, but then everyone I date turns out to be a monster.
Yeah.
It's your MO.
That's interesting. So would you have wanted to is it because you wanted to be in the show, or would you have wanted to hang out with...
all the above.
Geller?
I would love to have been in the cast. Love to have made out with Michelle Gellar.
Right.
That's why I did the boyfriend thing. Love to have met the entire cast. I think the entire cast has been fun. And
Worked
back in
with
the
Joss Whedon?
back in season 2 or 3 or whenever Seth, what was his name? Oz.
It's been forever.
I can't think of his name right now.
I need
when
to
he
watch
was
them
when he was
again.
in the cast,
It's
the
been
werewolf.
forever. Yeah.
You know, Seth Green.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have hung out with him.
That's true.
So there you go.
That's a good one. I don't think
Number
anybody
5.
could really argue with that. It's, you know.
Okay, I'm feeling a little bit better about my 0 pick,
Okay. That's a good one.
even though there is a chance.
My number 5, and again, I think these 4 are in no particular order, is Parks and Recreation.
You know, that's what Mikey would say if he were here.
Is it really?
He's a big Parks and Recreation
I've only
guy.
watched Parks and Rec all the way through one time, and it was a struggle for me to get to watch it because people were like, I didn't get it. And then they said, no, you got to start with like season 4. So that's what I did. I started with either season 3 or season 4, and then I watched the whole show, and then I went back and like season 1 and season 2 were just bonus material for me. So if you've been struggling to get into Parks and Rec, for anybody listening, then just start with episode 1 of season 3 or 4, and then just let the bonus happen afterward. But really, it's because of the comedy and the fast, rapid pace and the silliness on that show and the fearlessness on that show is what I'm talking about. Because Chris Pratt and Nick Offerman, and Amy Poehler, and that entire cast, they're all comedians. You know, they're all rapid-fire, quick-thinking comedians, and that's just a dream. I would love. I can't think of a better job. And they talk about it. You see it in the behind-the-scenes stuff. You see them talk about how much they enjoyed doing it and how hard it was, but just the comedy and they hated missing the set, being outside of the set. It's like Gene Wilder when he was talking about making Young Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Because they were all comedians, and they just loved being there so much.
Nice
and
pick.
how could you not?
How could you not? That's
How could
true.
you not? But they didn't have any particular makeout scenes in it, so I think your Buffy pick still beats that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I've got an even better one then. We're talking about making love.
Let's do it.
There's a show on Showtime that I can't recommend to any family members or friends. But Spartacus.
I'm feeling good about your 0 crossover too.
Yeah, Spartacus was great.
I was only thinking about network television here. I didn't go into Cinemax.
No, I'm going Skinemax.
Okay.
I mean, it was definitely Skinemax. It was like Showtime. We're not cable, so we're going to show.
We're gonna do whatever
naked,
we want.
full naked men,
Yeah.
full naked women,
Yeah.
and
What
it's going
was
to be
the
like
show?
that. Spartacus. It is excellent.
When did this come out?
Mid 2000s.
Okay, go
I
ahead.
want to say late 2000s.
Go on.
It's excellent.
Why?
It's excellent. It is. Have you seen 300?
Yes.
Okay, it's 300. The gladiator fights and everything. The true story about Spartacus, and it has great acting. It has great storytelling, and even though they showed tons of nudity in it, it's excellent. I'll never watch this with my kids. If I need to watch it again, but it's going to have to be
Game of
by
Thrones has
myself.
tons of nudity in it too. But you're saying it's more than that. It was more about the nudity than.
Well, you know, back in the day,
Yeah.
they wanted to show them boobies so them boys can tune in. But honestly, the storyline is phenomenal. I think we should watch it. I'm ready to watch it again. I think it's just amazing. The original actor of Spartacus died after the first season of cancer, and so they had to get someone to come in for season 2.
Yeah. Wasn't
I like the guy, but it's not the same. And it's sad because the story, even though it's still good, it just takes a step. The whole series takes a step down because when your lead actor dies, because the guy who played him, Andy Whitman,
They probably cast around
that
him.
dude was Spartacus.
Wow.
Like you truly believed he was like a man who has nothing to live for, who loved his wife, who just wanted to live one day more.
Wow.
In the arena. That is how and it was in his eyes. It was in his face. He was just excellent. And that's what draws you in. That and the naked women. I'm kidding. I'm totally-
So
Anyway,
who would you have wanted to be in Spartacus?
Okay. Well, obviously with my
Naturally.
buff physique, I'd have to be one of the gladiators. And I would want to be one just in a scene where I'm fighting, I could play boom boom with the your love slaves. But I probably would be a Roman. I'd probably be a Roman better than I'd be a gladiator. but it'd be fun to be a gladiator. But a Roman, you're getting it on. So either way, it's a win-win. If they want to make me one of the sleazy Roman people, I'm fine with that. But a gladiator would be awesome, and have Spartacus chop me down.
Okay, all right. So listen, this
Or whoever.
is one of my genuine considerations when forming this list was the sets that you would be on. And like I thought of a couple shows, I'm like, no, it's like outside and then the desert.
Lucy Lawless was in it. She's excellent.
Yeah, and
Well, there were some other people too. I can't remember his name.
but they don't film shows like I would never have wanted to be on Game of Thrones, I don't think, because God, what a nightmare with that armor and the
I understand.
running around in the mud and the rain, and it's like that's miserable
I just
days.
love this series. Please kids do not watch this
And
with
you know
your
what?
parents.
I guess I might have thought about this list a little wrong because
No, it's fine.
no,
You're doing
here's
fine.
here's what you had said. Shows that we would want to be like a day player on. Somebody comes in and like guest stars as a role, gets killed, whatever.
I'm doing.
And you know what? I would do that probably on any show. I thought my list, I should say, is more what shows would I have wanted to be on as a regular, like as another character maybe,
fine with
or
that.
a recurring
Go for it.
character. Because some TV
Fine,
shows.
I'm a recurring Roman.
That's what.
That means I got to do a full frontal, but F it.
Some shows I don't want to work outside in the desert every day, and I'm like, I don't know if I would want to work in a show called Spartacus. And
For the love of the art
yeah,
and
well,
the
it's-
naked people, I'm in.
and the nudity, yeah,
And my
you're
full
right.
frontal nudity. I put my full frontal nudity. My bird's nest will be up there.
Oh, the Roman civilization lives on in Matt's full frontal nudity.
There you go.
Roman day player. My number 4 is the X-Files. I would love to have shown up on the X-Files. If I had to be the creature of the week, fine. But you know what I would really love to do is I want to be like Cancer Man or something. I want to be a villain that shows up
That's a really good pick.
and is just mysterious, maybe never explained.
That's a really good pick.
Get to interact with Dana, Mulder and Scully, and to really have like a good rapport somehow, or somebody that tips them off, like the guy who puts the X up in the window, and he's the one who makes the phone call.
That's a great pick, in
something
fact.
like that. I would have loved that show, to be on that show, and to be a part of that allure and mystique and everything else. And I really wish that it had gotten a better revival, I suppose.
Yeah.
than what
That's
we
a good.
did, but
Yeah.
that one, it's embedded
like
in
it.
my childhood, but it's also one that even going back to watch it, it's just a lot of fun. And I was like, oh man, I would love to be one of these weird, mysterious characters, people talking. And that was back in the day, pre mainstream internet, pre-broadband, I guess. And so it was something that you did sit around and talk about. You're like, whoa, and you had the mysteries and,
That's true.
and the allure of it. It wasn't just like plastered all over the internet within 5 minutes of the show episode airing.
A true water cooler show.
A water
as they say.
cooler show. That's exactly what it was. I would love to have been on that particular water cooler show, but
That's
any
great.
water cooler show
You
would
talk about that all
qualify
week
for this
long.
list. And you can talk about it all week long. It's like, oh, did you see that crappy X-Files episode on Friday? You could talk about that on Monday morning, and that's fantastic.
Cancer Man, get out of here.
Cancer Man again, you guys. I mean, come on.
Right.
We had aliens at the end of season 3, and now in season 4, what did they give us? What was that? Your pet peeve episode?
Acid Rain.
Yeah,
right
Acid
after, right after the big story
Right
line.
after the big reveal.
And now we go there investigating Acid Rain.
Aliens
Get outta
exist.
here.
Acid Rain, freak of the week.
All right, so my number 3, since I'm going to be a Roman and I didn't get to, we decided I'm not Spartacus bound. I can be on Highlander, the TV show, and wield a sword.
Yep.
And I will be one of Duncan's
Yep.
old friends or nemesis that come in for that one episode that he eventually has to fight and get chopped down. I think Adrian Paul, I've met this man. I think he is a darling. He is an absolute gentleman and a scholar, and I love him to death. He is very polite to everyone. I hear he was great on set, too, back when he was big. So he never let it get to his head.
Pun intended.
Just an awesome guy. And to be on an episode of Highlander.
That would have been super cool.
But I will say a caveat. Instead of the 1,000, if anyone who watches the series knows this, instead of the 1,000-year-old demon killing Richie, I wish it was me. Richie, I hated that character.
Hated
and they killed him off at the end of season, right before the final season. They killed him off as a kind of a shock, twist, cliffhanger. and I could not have been happier.
Get
Everyone was in total shock on the internet,
the
post
message
boards,
right, yeah.
and I was dancing all summer long.
That's fantastic.
I was like, just don't bring him back.
It wasn't just a water cooler show. That was an end of summer, talk about it all summer kind of thing,
big cliffhanger, talk about all summer.
Man, are we that old?
So that's my we are.
Okay.
That's my number 3.
That's a good one. That's a good pick. I would love to have the prop head that went flying off into the distance when you lost your head, inevitably, no doubt.
And who knows, maybe in Spartacus I will have lost my other head. Because they did that kind of crap.
Oh,
it got bloody. Anyway.
My number 3 is Smallville. All 10 seasons of that crap, and I loved it so much. I've watched Smallville all 10 years of it, at least twice, I think, all the way through.
All right. This is twice you've done this.
Yep.
I loved X-Files until they went off the horse. It was obvious.
Yes.
Chris Carr didn't know where they were going. And the revival had some good stuff.
Did you
but
feel
he
the
still
same
couldn't
way
wrap
about
it up.
Smallville?
When Lex Luthor left the show, what's the point of watching?
I mean, you have a point. It changed dramatically.
There is 2 episodes per season afterwards worth watching after Lex is gone.
Yeah.
There's only 2 episodes per season probably worth watching because it's just garbage. Because Jonathan Kent left earlier that season, I think.
He did.
And in a great episode.
Mm-hmm.
But and they brought him back for I didn't know this till I watched it years later. But
really,
they brought
you didn't
him back
know
for
that
the
he
10th
came back?
season
That's great.
as a ghost.
Yeah.
And he's so good.
He's a Force Ghost.
Like, I hated watching the entire season, but whenever Force Ghost came back,
when Bo Duke
they knew they made a mistake.
Yeah.
When they killed him off, because they needed Jonathan Kent and him just working on the fence post. I almost cried.
I know
when they did that scene.
It was beautifully shot.
Yeah.
The way they did it. Absolutely.
Now, go for it. Yeah.
No, I would have loved to have worked with any of those actors. Honestly, Michael Rosenbaum, who was Lex
I hear he's
Luthor,
fantastic.
That's what I've heard too, and that he's been, he's got a great sense of humor, and that he's fun to work with, and that he's gone to a lot of like Dragon Con and interacts with the fans, and he loves his fans and interacts with them and everything else. And so he's been doing his own podcast called Inside of Me for years now, and Inside of You, I should say. And then he's just started a new one with Tom Welling, and it's called Talkville. And they're going back and they're rewatching every episode of Smallville together. Well, not together, but they're watching it at home. Then they come back and talk about it. The next day they do like we do. They say, okay, we're going to talk about episode 5 of season 4 or whatever, and then they do their breakthrough of they have their top moments of the show.
Once he gets when he leaves,
and they haven't seen it. They haven't seen it since they filmed it,
Wow.
or they may not have ever seen it, And then eventually, later in the seasons, Tom Welling, he was directing a lot of them. So he moved more into the directing side and to the craft of it. And so one of the best parts of listening to that podcast is listening to, like, Rosenbaum has a great sense of humor, and he keeps the show going and funny and silly and whatever. And it's entertaining. And Tom has such good insight into the where the camera was, where the movie making, how they did this scene, and then what they needed to do to make this scene happen, how it changed when the show got popular. That was really interesting too to listen to when they got famous, as because like Kristen Kruk was coming on, and she had she was Lana Lang, right? And so right in season 1, season 2, they had like a stalker like follow her onto the set, and was on set for a while before they find out who this guy is, and that was when they realized, we need security for these people, we need to change things around the code of how we film and all this other stuff. And then they used to drive themselves to the set, and then Tom Welling was talking about how he was so tired because he's in every single scene. He's in every scene, and the show's about him, but he was working, 20 hours a day, and it was Jonathan Kent who actually went to the producers at Warner Brothers and said, if you don't hire this kid a driver, you're not going to have a show because he's going to die on his way home or on his way here because he's falling apart. He's at the wheel, and there's no way you can ask him to keep doing this. And it's because of Jonathan Kent that Warner Brothers and I think everybody got a driver after that because they didn't want to hire one for everybody, but they couldn't just get it for Tom. But at least it started that way. I don't know. I might be mixing up the story, but the point is that they did, and that he would just sleep in the car, get home, keep sleeping, and then somebody'd pick him up in the morning, and he'd sleep on his way there and go back to the set. But that's how much he was doing that for 10 years straight. Could you imagine? for 10 years, just doing
That's
nothing
amazing.
but that. And
A
it was
decade.
a decade of your
A
life.
decade.
Your entire 20s.
Was spent being Superman.
Yeah, being Superman. And like waiting for light changes to happen and like sitting in your trailer learning your lines and like meeting
That's insane.
and meeting day players like us who would show up for one episode and like get choked out or thrown. Could you imagine? That's what I would want to be. I'd want to be chucked in the air like by Superman because I was like threatening somebody he cared about, and it's like,
You were stalking Lana.
yeah, stay away from my mom.
Boom.
You know, and go
Gone.
flying off like a stuntman, and like that would be a lot of fun.
Awesome. Good
So,
pick.
Yeah.
All right. My number.
Oh, and that
go ahead.
podcast is worth listening to. They're still doing
Talkville.
it now.
Okay.
Yeah, Talkville. Yeah, it's
All right.
great.
All right, good. Check it out. Number 2,
Number 2.
Firefly.
Firefly? Okay, good choice.
I would
Good
be a
choice.
brown coat, old friend of Mal's.
Okay.
I have an idea where some buried treasure is, and so we're off to look for it. I'm going to offer Mal half.
Wait a minute, you're
he
a badger?
takes me-
Is that what you're saying? You can get a bowler,
In a way,
get a
I'm
bowler
one
hat
of
and
his
a bad
friends.
accent. Okay.
But I've been chasing after this goal for a while, and Mal doesn't believe it exists.
Okay.
But I'm trying to prove to Mal it does. And so I do. We get there.
We've got a whole
And
episode.
it turns out, no, I thought about this. And it turns out there is no treasure. It's just junk. But the real twist is, I knew that. I just wanted to have one adventure more with Mal because I don't have friends anymore.
Oh, he's just lonely.
I'm just lonely.
Oh, my
And so
gosh.
Mal decides to come back and try, and we'll hang out more often, you know,
Oh.
but not like this. And so then he leaves me,
Well,
trying
yeah.
to find my own way,
Find
something
your-
funny,
well, you
because
gotta
Mal's got to
have-
get some upper hand.
Yeah, you got to have some upper hand. He's got to have some money from
But
something.
we get in trouble, all this, you know,
Yeah.
rebel rousing,
through
but it's
some
a fun little
hijinks.
thing. Yeah, some hijinks. It's fun. I've got to meet most of this cast.
That's true, you
and
have. Yeah.
This cast is totally amazing with their fans.
Yeah.
Summer Glau, River, got out of line, got out from behind her because the joke is we met
Alan.
Jane, Adam Baldwin, and this is Megan's first Comic-Con. She thinks it's dumb. We talked to him. She's having so much fun. He goes, "What's your name, sweetheart?" She goes, "Megan." He signs it to Megan.
To Megan. He's like, wait
And
a minute.
it's my DVD set.
Yeah.
And Megan's like, "Well, do you want me to go back and ask him to put in Matt?" I went, "No." I said, "Mrs., I don't want to be here." So anyway, the joke is that we just put it all to Megan.
Yeah, because
Well-
you have the set with all the DVD
Yeah.
discs separately, and they're all signed
Yeah.
to Megan.
The whole set, front and
different,
back.
by different actors.
Yeah, by
Right.
all the actors, except for Nathan Fillion. He's the
Except
only
for
one we
Nathan.
didn't have sign it because he didn't show up when he was supposed to. But anyway, Summer Glau signing it. She went, "Okay, what's the name?" I said, "Megan." She looked at me and went, "It's my wife's name." He went, "Where's she?" I went, "She was too tired to wait in line, so she's sitting over there." He went, "Oh, well, let's go see her."
Summer said that?
Yeah. Got out from behind the table, walked with me through the crowd
What?
to say hello and talk to Megan for a little while.
Wow. That's unheard of.
And Megan didn't even care. I was the one that waited in line an hour. Megan's like, "Oh, you really want her autograph?" I said, "Yes, we need to get it."
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm not going to wait. Okay, fine.
Oh
Then
my gosh.
Summer comes to you.
Summer Glau came over and talked
But
to
it's
her.
an inside joke because they have him sign everything thanks to your friend Adam. But yeah, but we got.
do you mean
I
Megan
am
didn't
happy
care? I
because
don't
we did
believe
get.
that. She must
We
have
did
cared.
get Book to sign it before he died.
You got a Shepherd book to sign it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So we got a good one there. But the whole cast was wonderful, and I'd love to be a part of it.
That is a great idea.
Yeah.
That definitely, they talk with so much reverential joy about filming that show. I totally agree. I bet that would have been a terrific set to be on.
Yeah. Oh no, unless you're a woman.
Yeah, well, let's not get into that. Yes, but I think that would have been a terrific.
Josh Whedon joke. Had to take a drink. Okay, go.
Yes, it would have been amazing. My number 2 is Seinfeld. Truthfully, I love Jerry.
That's another good
Seinfeld.
one. That's a
And-
great one.
And that's another 10 years. I could have been any comic at any point, and any person being made fun of. You know, the Soup Nazi was probably at that Comic-Con that you met Summer Glau.
Oh, man.
And any of those day players, like a lot of those day players on Seinfeld, became legends because of that show. And I think that's in big part because of Larry David and Jerry and the writing and what they did. But to work with those ultra talented super comedians like Kramer and Elaine and Newman and all those guys that just for years brought gold. Like there's rarely a dull episode of Seinfeld, which is so great because it's a show about nothing where nothing happens, but it's so memorable and so quotable because no character is just thrown away, and they know the comedians, I should say, comics and comedians, but especially stand-up comedians, they know
timing, story,
fitting
your character within that story.
If this line doesn't work, get rid of it. You know, this got nothing, then let's kill it. Like, cut it out, and they whittle it down to find the gold. You know, they find the real good stuff, and that's what they did with their scripts.
Yeah, really smart.
And that's what I would have wanted to do, is to just find those lines and work with those people who knew exactly how to make anything funny.
A couple of years ago, I went through and watched them all.
Did you?
Because I saw it when it came out, but I don't think I've seen them all.
I hadn't either. It was very recently that I did the same thing.
So the timing. There's no wasted time.
No.
They make sure to fit everything within their allotted time.
Right.
There was no filler. You don't feel there's filler.
No.
And today's comedy, it feels like there's
awful.
a lot of
There's
filler.
a lot of drag. That's one of my biggest pet peeves, and I've heard Jerry Seinfeld say this too, is that his worst thing you can do when you're a comic, if he goes to a show, somebody gets up on stage and says, "How's everybody doing tonight?" You know, like, oh my God, just shoot me now. Like, you've got nothing better than that.
Yeah.
Just come on. Like, give me a reason to be here and to care.
Filler.
Something. It's filler. Exactly. Words, ers, and everything's just, and it's the comic equivalent of just saying, yeah, it's horrible.
That's an excellent pick, by the way.
Thank you.
Because that whole cast would be fun.
And that's part of it. It'd be the laughs in between the takes, first of all, and then just watch the process and how. Because Jerry is his famously just not very nice guy. Like, he's very direct. He's very New York. He's very poignant. He's from Massapequa, but the point is that he's very direct, and he doesn't just pander because he hates filler, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I would have loved to have watched, like, how much does he stick to what's written? How much does it change before and after or ever? And I would have loved to have had one moment where he had some kind of quirky line to say to me, and I had to do the perfect delivery right back to him. Otherwise, the joke wouldn't work.
Yeah.
Like the Soup Nazi, like that whole thing was probably very mechanically formulated.
A lot of these jokes could have fallen flat if handled improperly.
That whole show would be flat because it's about nothing. And that's why it's so genius, is because they had to find gold with a crap script.
Yeah.
And we were talking about that with theater before last week and before that, you have some bad scripts, but if you have the right actors, you can find the gold in between the lines, and it's just, there's nothing like that kind of magic. That's why it's my number 2.
Our number 1
is Star Trek, any version.
It is.
It is Star Trek. Of course it is. How could it not be? That's our crossover. I win.
You do win.
Yes.
Okay.
Because I could have filled out my entire top 5 with
If you had to
Star
pick
Treks.
one, you'd pick Next Generation.
That's
Wait,
tough.
would you have done a top 5 of Star Trek
I would
shows?
have just done TNG,
Shut the front
DS9, Star T original series. I would have done a top 5 versions of it.
All right.
So I just bulked them all into my
You have
number
to be
1.
one. Which one are you in?
Oh, God.
This is hard for me.
It depends on what season. Because I would want to be in the later seasons of DS9, but also
I would love to be on
later
DS9.
seasons of any of them. But
DS9 for Quark, for
Yes.
Worf, for
Avery Brooks.
for Avery, for all of them,
yeah.
but
Odo.
especially for Odo, and then for
Jeffrey
Jadzia.
Combs,
Jadzia Dax.
Jadzia Dax.
Hello.
Yeah, hello.
I
I was a Roman once.
As any maniacs say, hello, nurse. That's how they used to say.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes, I was a Roman once. Let's go back to Rome.
I want to show you.
In this episode, we go back to Rome.
You want me to show you that episode of when I was on Spartacus last year?
yeah, exactly. Jadzia, what's up?
Yeah.
No, but I decided the original. Excuse me. The original series.
You would be in TOS, really. That would be, you would want to work with.
I mean, you're
that
looking
group.
at the Hall of Fame.
I mean, no doubt.
You're looking at Kirk, Spock, and Bones.
Yeah.
And I want to be a red shirt that dies
You
in the
would
middle
want
of
to be a
them.
red shirt. Really? Not an alien.
No.
Okay.
I had to be. It would be. The story would be about a new ensign who's joined,
Okay.
and they're welcome to the crew. but it's called, you call it One Day on the Enterprise. Mm-hmm. And he's learning a lot. He's learning a lot.
I like it.
They start to take him under his wing because there's a new system where ensigns get drafted, get to follow either other people, and the captain has picked him
naturally.
And it's only just for his first week there. And so he takes them on the mission. They crash. Kirk's assuring him they're going to make it out alive. Unfortunately, he does not.
Yeah.
And so Kirk has some kind of reveille with Bones and Spock at the end. What is life? Blah, blah, blah. But the thing.
What is life?
But no. But it would be and Spock would do the you will do the mind meld. You will be remembered.
Ooh, that would be good.
You will be remembered.
To have a mind meld moment with Spock.
You will be remembered.
That would have been
Bones.
great.
There's nothing I can do for him, Jim.
That's a great pick. You get a Jim speaking over your dead body.
But I'm really injured, Jim. At this point,
Jim,
there's nothing I can do.
There's no way to do it.
We gotta.
He's
leave
gone,
him,
Jim.
No, we can't leave him, Bones. I made a promise, Jim. Damn it, listen to me.
Yeah. Meanwhile, you're just lying there dead.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we got to take it again. You're like, oh boy.
He's gonna die, and he knows it. I told him.
That would be brilliant. That's a great pick.
Yeah.
I love that. I wouldn't have thought about the original series as my number one, that's for sure. I just
bring in Uhura to smooch
it would
him.
have been either TNG or DS9 without question, just because
TNG's a great
to
pick.
work with Patrick Stewart and to do something with him would have been any of them really would have just been so priceless.
You would have to be in a Q.
In a Q episode?
Because you have to be with Q too.
Yes, that would have been magnificent. Yes.
Maybe you're one of the visiting admirals.
Oh,
who has a hard time trying to understand what Q is and why he always is. Why can't we find out more about him?
Yeah.
You just say he's a whimsical guy. I don't believe this. I think some of your stories are, you're not telling the whole truth, or this guy we need to capture and whatnot. And Q makes he ridicules you the whole time.
That's good.
The whole time teasing you. But that way you get to be with John DeLance too.
Oh, I love that. That's a great idea. And because he's hopped between every episode and everything, every series, every iteration of it.
And also guest starring in there.
Anything.
But he wouldn't get guest starring credit, of course. Would be an alien Jeffrey Combs.
Yes, absolutely.
You would need that and all that.
That's what I'm talking about.
You would need the All-Star episode.
Yeah, exactly. And I've always thought, though, and I wrote this down, I said I would probably, if I had my druthers, I would want to be an alien. Like, not as myself. Not like Christian Slater showing up and...
You would want to be a Jeffrey Combs.
I would want to show up in full makeup and have the whole thing done, not necessarily a Klingon or a Vulcan, but something like a Jeffrey Combs. It's just like an out there kind of character. So, like, not just a day player actor scene, but also like an alien maybe that's just in one episode. Like, we've only ever seen...
That's by the bar with what's-his-face, who doesn't talk?
Yeah, like Morn.
Morn, yeah.
And like we don't know anything about Morn because he doesn't have any lines, and that's what I would have loved to have sitting next to Morn, talking like, oh wow, that's a great story, Morn. Like, God, the guy won't shut up, and having one of those lines or something like that. But I would have liked to have been an alien too, like a Morn,
absolutely.
which we don't know anything about him, and it's just a mystery. Like, that's what I would have loved. But like full
good picks,
full makeup, but I also like there's a part of me that wants to do it. Like Whoopi Goldberg wanted to do it just because of Uhura being one of her heroes, and then they were like, there's no way we're going to get Whoopi Goldberg. She'd be great in this, but she's not going to want to do this. And did you know that story that they didn't ask her to be Guinan in TNG because they're like, there's no way she's going to say yes. She's like the biggest star. Like,
movies back then.
She's in movies and like she's the whatever. There's no way she's going to do this. And they didn't ask her for almost a year because they were like convinced that no one did.
She would say no.
And then finally someone did, and she's like, yeah, I've been waiting for you guys to tell me, ask me. Like, she had heard a rumor that someone was going to ask her to do it, but no one ever called.
Wow.
And then they finally got her, and she was like, yeah, I want to be here. This is crazy. Great. And because of Uhura and Nichelle Nichols and the icon that she was.
Big for a lot of people.
I would have wanted to do that, and like Christian Slater shows up for his one line when he was a big movie star.
That was great
in Star Trek.
I loved it.
4
or 5.
No,
five,
it was
had to
6.
be 5.
It was 6. Yes, it was when Sulu was the captain.
Yeah,
and so it was Star Trek 6, and so he's just like, I just want to be in it, and he had just the 2 lines or whatever, and he was out. I would love to do something like that, but just to be fitted with the uniform or to be fitted with the costume headpiece or anything like
There you
that.
go.
And just, it's so iconic, anything with Star Trek, and just to have it mounted on the wall forever, right next to, we'll see you next time on Saturday.
Morning
Samoflange.